Beauty, they say, lies in the eyes of the beholder. Does the opposite also hold true? Does offense or obscenity also lie in the eyes of the beholder? Superstar Ranveer Singh has been at the receiving end of both kinds of views over the last few days. He posted pictures of himself, and I'm going to pull up some of those pictures. You can tell us if you feel offended or not. He posted pictures of himself from a shoot for a magazine in which he appears in some places in his birthday suit and then some in black briefs. So now, while fans are swooning over how good he's looking, etc., two individuals in Mumbai have filed complaints with the police. The Mumbai police booked the action under sections 292, 293, 509 of the IPC and section 67A of the IT Act. Let me begin by telling you what those charges are exactly. So section 292A refers to the sale or distribution of obscene content. Section 292B is about the import or export of any obscene object. He's booked under all of these. Section 292C is if part of profits of any obscene business. Section 292D is if anyone advertises any obscene object. 293 is about sale of obscene objects to young persons. Section 509 is a word or gesture insulting a woman's modesty. And Section 67A of the IT Act is about publishing material sexually explicit through the internet. So this was, of course, put out on his Instagram account. Now, the complaint says that the pictures show no regard for India's culture. It will damage traditions and, above all, hurt sentiments of women. Now, I don't know how many women were surveyed to come to this conclusion that their sentiments are hurt, but let's take a look at what the law says while defining obscenity. The legal definition is a book, pamphlet, paper, writing, drawing, painting or representation or any other object shall be deemed to be obscene if it appeals to the prurient interest or tends to deprave and corrupt persons who are likely to see it. This is, by the way, a law that harks back to 1860, but has been used liberally over the last few years. Ranveer Singh is by no means the first and unlikely to be the last star who has been booked under these laws. So let's just take you through that list. Aamir Khan was booked for a scene in his movie PK, which people were offended by. They thought, you know, he seemed naked in that picture. He was booked for this scene in the movie PK. Milind Soman, I would say, is the OG who first made a splash. Many at that time said he's celebrating the male body, but this was the latest. He was running on the beach and was clicked. That photo was put out and he was booked for that. And the list actually goes on and on. Shilpa Shetty has been booked, and she's still actually dealing with this case for a public kiss. Richard Gere kisses her. She was booked for obscenity. She said, but what can I do about it? Akshay and Twinkle were booked, as in Akshay Kumar was booked for asking his wife to unbutton her jeans. Bipasha Basu was booked for a picture in a magazine called Maxim. Sharlin Chopra was accused of uploading obscene videos online. Malika Sherawat for a dance performance someone didn't like. Poonam Pandey also. So the list actually goes on and on of people who've been booked. So nothing very new in that action. What we're trying to break down today is not whether people feeling bad or not is the case. I mean, you could like it, you could hate it. That's really your point of view. It's about whether the law should be invoked in this case. So I have with me Advocate Vedika Chaube. She is the complainant against Ranveer Singh. Shahzad Khan, actor, is also joining us today on the show. Payal Jain, fashion designer, is speaking with us. And I'm also speaking with Rizwan Siddiqui, Sienna lawyer. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for speaking with us on Beyond the Headline. Ms. Vedika Chaube, can you explain to us why you felt the need to go to a police station and complain about this picture? What drove you to this, ma'am?
First of all, I am a woman and I just want to represent women of nearly 70% of the population is me. So I felt when I saw his picture on Twitter, what he shared from his Twitter account, it was obscene, which I cannot took it. So I thought and I saw it again. I talked to few friends of mine, is it fine, is it fine? Everyone was of the same opinion, no, this is not fine. And this has outraged my modesty.
Ma'am, but
And such pictures should not be posted, shouldn't be allowed.
okay. So you didn't like the picture,
Yeah,
and you know,
please.
I've spent a lot of time explaining how the law sees
No,
it. I've spent a lot of time explaining about views.
I have not liked. This is not the case of liking. This is not the case of liking. This is, he has posted the picture in public. He has intentionally showed his private parts, and I think if a person, if a male or female, if he is or she is without clothes, that comes under the nudity, and nudity is never allowed in law.
Okay, I have Rizwan Siddiqui with me.
It cannot be taken.
Okay, since you're a lawyer, I will take, you know, a legal response to what you are saying. Because like I said right at the outset, views could be many. Someone might like it, someone might be offended, someone might be really happy seeing it. That doesn't matter. Let me just get Rizwan Siddiqui on it, on the question of nudity. Ma'am, you'll get an opportunity. Don't worry, we have a lot of time on the show. You'll get an opportunity. Rizwan Siddiqui, on the question of nudity and whether this comes under the legal definition of obscenity, and should Ranveer Singh be booked for this? That's the question that we're asking today.
See, the best example would be, okay, let me start with this. As Madam said, that she saw the private parts of Mr. Ranveer Singh and she felt that this was obscene. If we are looking at the same photograph that was shown, I cannot see any private parts of Ranveer Singh if it is the same photograph. And if you look at the photograph, the way it has been, picturized or photographed in a private area, like the area where this was photographed, it appears to be a studio. It is not a public place like a beach where Mr. Milan Suman was running, in a public property or in a public place, which would to a certain amount attract penal provisions. Unfortunately, in this case, I beg to differ with Madam because this was shot very artistically, and there are a plethora of Supreme Court judgments which have clearly, clearly mentioned and clearly stated that, any kind of a photograph which has been clicked and keeping in mind that this is done in, for an artistic view, this would not amount to obscenity, and this does not amount to anything which would be indecent. If you ask me, looking at the judgments delivered by the Supreme Court, because when cases are filed by the police, when police registers cases, and if there is no conviction at the end of the entire proceedings, or at the end of the entire trial, that means it is very clear that all the actors that you mentioned so far, none of them were convicted. None of them have been convicted. They have not faced any jail. So it is very simple that, this in the eyes of the court, in the eyes of the Supreme Court or the High Court, this would not tantamount to or amount to obscenity.
You know, I think we need to ask a wider question here. And Vedika ji, I'll come back to you. Since you are the complainant, I think you deserve to put your point of view forward. You wanted to make a point, make that. But I want to ask you, and you have every right as a woman to feel outraged by something you see. Have you gone to the police station and taken such action when you've seen, for example, and this is unfortunately very common sight of men urinating on the roads? You know, of the kind of obscenity, and that's again a point of view that we see day in and day out. Why Ranveer Singh? Some would say this is because he's a celebrity. He's a celebrity who put out pictures on his own Instagram account. He's not forced anyone to see it. So why against him? Is it because he's famous?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because he is famous, that is one of the point, but I have not gone to the police station just because he is Ranveer Singh. He has his Twitter account. On his Twitter, there are 14.1 million followers, and most of the youngsters follow him like Toto, like what he is doing, they will follow the same thing. So are we giving this society to our kids, our women in the society? Are we pushing this thing, or are we pushing this thing forward? Like, yeah, you are free, you can roam nude on the streets. This
but
is
he's
Instagram
not on the
and
streets.
social
He's in a
media
studio.
has become a street.
He's in a studio.
He is on the street. He is on the, if his photos are out on the Twitter, on the Google, on every platform, he is on street.
Okay, so the question is about internet virality.
I don't know.
Internet virality is the question and the point she's making. Payal Jain, your response. Your response to the kind of outrage and the legal action that has come about because of these pictures.
So I think this is a personal choice. He has the choice of whether he wishes, how he wishes to express his creativity in an enclosed environment. Of course, it was shot in a studio. It was meant for a magazine. He is a star. That's why it has become public. But he still has the choice to make his own decisions. I don't think the law can force anybody to do one or the other. And as our friend said, there were no private parts exposed. You are seeing his muscles. You are not seeing the parts which anybody can have a problem with. I mean, that's how I feel, that he does have the choice to make for himself. He's not asking anyone else to do that.
Yeah. Shehzad Khan, as an actor, as someone who's part of this fraternity, I believe your view is that Ranveer should have not gone forward for such exposure. But why is that? Because like I mentioned earlier, he's not the only one. There has been a long tradition of leading actors displaying themselves in various ways. It's because of artistic expression at times. What's your view on this current controversy?
I would like to say a couple of things. I would need some time from you. तमन्ना जी, बात ऐसी है कि जो आपने फोटोग्राफ्स दिखाए हैं रणवीर के, वो कुछ हद तक ठीक है. Till the time he's having his briefs on and all, those are perfectly okay. Like if you go for, even when there's competition, bodybuilding competitions, we see the winners, they wear these briefs and they're taking pics and all that. There's a lot of crowd over there. So that's also public display, which is not offendable. But yes, Ranveer is a very big, it's a superstar. And the pics without his briefs, I don't think so at his level. It is, needed to, he doesn't need to do all this. He's a very, very big star. He's a very good actor. And he's a very good human being. You showed me, you're showing pics of the other actors also. Like Amir did a character in PK who's come from the outer universe. So obviously when you come from outer universe, you don't know what's clothes and all that. See, if you're playing a character, it's a different thing altogether. If a character demands a certain scene or certain thing of,
right,
of being in the nude, it's a different thing altogether. But with the briefs, his pics are okay. There's no private parts being shown of his. But I think the one without the one which is on the carpet and all that, he doesn't need to do this. And if he's doing some film, if he's playing a gigolo, or if he's doing some film, which he needs to go bare body, if he's playing Tarzan for that, and if he's rehearsing for that, then it's a different thing. But he's too big a star to do it.
But Shehzad ji, you seem to have a lot of rules for in which situation Ranveer Singh can take these pictures. He should be playing Tarzan. He should not be such a big star. And it should be part of a role, not a magazine shoot. I mean, who makes these rules? Who makes these rules and why can't he do whatever he wants?
See, he can do what he wants. That is his wish altogether. I'm not saying that. But you asked me, you're asking my opinion.
Fair
so
enough.
we all have to think and decide. Because this is not about his pics. It is about the hundreds of crores which is riding on Ranveer Singh. There are so many films of his which are there back to back to be released. Now, at that time, people start taking objection. They'll make a big ruckus about it. So I look at that thing also. And playing a character is different. But, you have to be responsible. We all know our limits. We being actors, we being celebrities, we know there's a big generation which is following us, which adores us, which copies us. So we have to be a little bit responsible.
No, so you're saying it should be for a character, but that's your parameter. I want to ask Vedika ji, if this was in a movie, in a certain character, would that be okay with you, or would you still feel, as offended?
No, then also, yes, 100%. I would have got offended if he has done it in the movie also.
Exactly. So
because movie,
you see my
we
point.
go with kids and we
live. But
we,
Vedika ji, if it's a movie which has
live
nudity,
in a society.
One minute. I want to just clarify certain things because you talked about kids twice and about youth following him on social media. There is a cut-off age after which people can log on to social media or have social media accounts. Number one. Number two, if there is a picture with these kind of scenes, it will most likely get an A certificate. Children should anyway be not going to see such movies. So now the question is that are you leaving no space no space for any kind of content which some people may like.
See, but Twitter and Instagram is not A-rated. Twitter and Instagram and Google is not A-rated.
Okay. I want you to come in over here, and you know we should get the legal point of view as well from Rizwan
I just
Siddiqui.
wanted to read the section.
Yes. Go ahead.
I just wanted to read the section 509. Okay. It says whoever intending to insult the modesty of any woman, okay, utters any words, makes any sound or gesture, or exhibits any object intending that such word or sound shall be heard, or that such gesture or object shall be seen by such woman, or intrudes upon the privacy of such woman. So he's doing all that thing.
He has put the picture, ma'am. Is he forcing people to see it? Is he forcing people to see it? Rizwan Siddiqui, I want your response to this. Because, you know, where we have come into this discussion is the question of subjectivity and objectivity. What is obscene? How is obscenity defined by the law? And views on what, you know, outrageous your sensibilities or not. We have 4 people on this panel and everyone has a different point of view. Shehzad ji says that if he plays Tarzan, I'm fine with it. Payal says, I think it's absolutely fine. Vedika ji says, even if it's in a movie, I will be offended. So how do you decide this now?
So let me be very clear. First and foremost, whatever may be morally or ethically wrong does not mean that it is legally also wrong. See, morals and ethics could be one thing that deals with the society and the way people look at it. And the law is a different ballgame altogether, how the judges will look at it and how the courts will look at it. Now, as Madam has filed a case, so that means she's talking about law. She's not talking about morals and ethics. If she was to just tweet about it and say, you know, she would have said that this is my personal opinion, I don't like it, it would be still okay. But since she has actually set the criminal law into motion by seeking to file a criminal complaint, that means she's trying to look at the courts, she's trying to look at the police, she's trying to look at the law. Now, let me pinpoint what the judges have to say in a case like this. Indian courts have always said, I'm just quoting something, Indian courts have often settled the debate between morality and freedom in favor of artistic freedom, such as in the case of M.F. Hussain judgment in 2008, where the court have held that art is an important tool of expression. In another case, Perumal Murugan judgment, where the Supreme Court has held that art is often provocative and it is not meant for everybody, not meant for everyone. Material cannot be labeled as obscene simply because it is unpalatable to one section of the society. So you see, there are a plethora of judgments like this, where a person, a male or a female, would look at a particular expression of art in a different way. Whereas the way the court will look at it is absolutely different. It has to look at it considering whether this would amount to obscenity or not. See, if a man was to flash at a woman, then I would definitely say that this is not acceptable. Yeah. This would attract the provisions of whatever provisions that we're looking at in
509.
IT Act or Indian Penal Code or a lot of sections. As a matter of fact, there is a special act, Indecent Representation of Women, which only deals with women. So when a person is, if it is an artistic expression, if he is shooting for a particular magazine, and if he is reproducing that particular photograph on his Instagram handle, he is not asking you to come and see it. Why do you have to go and see it? It is basically open. It is if you want to see it and if you go and see it. So like, for example, if internet is an open platform, a 5-year-old can go on the internet and can browse through, actually sexually explicit content where the private parts are also visible. Then in a situation like this, what do you do? Yeah. So basically, in a situation in a society where even a 5-year-old has got access to actual nudity, to actual nude content, where sexually explicit photographs, videos, pornographic stuff is available. Here, I do not see any private part which Mr. Ranveer Singh has displayed. He has not shown anything which would amount to or which would tantamount to obscenity.
Shehzad ji, you want to respond to that? Shehzad ji, you want to respond to that?
I will send you pics. I will send you pics apart from these Twitter and Instagram pictures. I will send you that pics and then we can have another discussion.
No, but wait, 1 minute. Vedika ji, where have you got these pics which nobody else has?
It's on social media. It's on social media. I've got it on WhatsApp.
It is the same pictures which everyone has. It is the
Same
same
pictures.
pictures
It is
which
the
he
same-
has
same
It's been getting
pictures.
circulated on WhatsApp groups.
It is same
Can I-
pictures.
How do you know they're not morphed?
Same pictures and plus another
How do you
4-5
know they're not
pictures.
morphed? Because
Yes.
the pictures
They
will be
can be
what he
morphed
has
also.
It
released.
has, that court will decide. Let court decide.
No, but
Can I
Vedika
add
ji,
Why are we discussing
Vedika
here?
ji, you are
कोर्ट में जाते हैं,
dragging.
कोर्ट
Forget that
decide करेगा,
Ranveer
फिर
Singh
हम
is a
बात करते हैं।
superstar or not a superstar. You're taking him to court because you've seen pictures which you're saying are apart from the ones that he's put out. We do not know if those are morphed or not because whatever pictures are there, he's put out himself. His agencies have put out himself.
But the pictures which he has put it on his Insta, and Twitter account, that is not morphed. That is the real one.
But did she
That
see
the
any
court will
private
decide.
talking-
No?
So
On
you
that
are
only,
saying
I'm
you are
talking on
saying
that
there is
basis.
full
That the
nudity in
court
that
will
you can
decide.
see.
Yeah, 100%. That court will decide.
That court will decide
Would
whether
you,
they are
Mr.
morphed,
Rizwan,
not
would you
morphed.
go nude on such level? Would you do the same thing?
I don't have
Mr.
that.
Rizwan
Would
is
you
a
and your
body.
kids will do the same thing and
I
post
don't
it
have
on
that
Twitter
kind of
and
I have
Insta?
a point
No, 1 minute,
here.
1
Mr.
minute. When
Rizwan
you
is
do
a
it,
man.
you
Are
not
you
do
okay?
doesn't come into question. Then you
Anybody
should
on
ask
this
Mr.
panel
Rizwan,
would
will he
be
go and file
okay?
an FIR? He won't. He's a different individual. You are a different
I'm
individual.
asking everyone.
Ranveer Singh is a
I'm
different
asking everyone.
individual.
Sitting on the
Yes,
table.
Payal wants to say something. Yes, Payal, please come in.
I wanted
Very
to say
true.
that
So this is my
Vedika ji
personal
said
thing.
that
This
you
is my
can't,
personal
our
thing.
children will see it, our children will go and they'll, but the internet is accessible to everybody. So is social media. You may have to be an age to join Instagram, but to look at it, to see, pick up somebody else's, our children are seeing it all the time. Are we taking everybody to
I
court?
want to wade into slightly, I would say,
But we
subjective
live in
no,
a
one sec,
society-
Vedika ji, I want to touch upon what the actual issue is, and I want to wade into slightly controversial territory. Here we've talked about the law, what the law says, subjectivity, objectivity. I want to talk about us as a people. Are we prudish when it comes to depiction of the human form? And is that underlying cultural thought that we are seeing time and again in all of these cases? The sight of the human body puts us on edge as a people. It makes us squeamish. And that is what we're really seeing. Payal?
I don't know why. That's the most natural thing on earth. I mean, each one of us are that. We're born like that. I mean, and by the way, so many films. Vedika ji said she would have an objection if she saw it in a film, but there are millions of films out there, including Hindi films. What are we doing? Taking everybody to court? We're not. And again, having said that, he's putting his pictures on his own personal handle. And he has the right to do so. He is not putting them out there. Yes, he is a star and that's why they are out there. But he's not put them out there.
Yeah. Okay. Shehzad, just your point about our outlook to depiction of the body, depiction of the male body. By the way, a lot of consternation when you see a man like this, because seeing women and their bodies being objectified has become par for the course in advertisements or in movies or in commercial media. But when it's a man, suddenly it becomes a bigger problem. Why do you think that is?
Being a celebrity, you have to be a little responsible to exactly what you are doing and how you are doing. If a YouTuber or a blogger or any common person would have been there in its place, he would have already been put behind bars, or whatever the strictest action would have been taken against that your person. But we have to be a little more careful about how we want to, and we don't like to see all these things. See, though when we are born without clothes, and when we leave this world, somebody else wraps us in the clothes and bids us farewell. So it's a part of life. But now it all depends on an individual how he sees it. You see it as an art, you see it as obscenity. It's all up to individual himself.
My question is, what, Vedika Chaubey, are you expecting to happen from this? We talked about a few of the cases. There are almost nil convictions in these cases. I mean, there's news today about Shilpa Shetty going back against a plea because Richard Gere kissed her some many years ago. She's going to court and say that, what can I do about it? The court removed the case. It threw out the case. Someone has pled again. So what are you hoping to get from this? If you say that your modesty has been outraged, what do you want to see? Do you want to see Ranveer Singh behind bars? Because there's a 3-year term for these sections. Do you want to see him apologize?
No,
what do you want to see?
He should apologize and his picture should be removed. Yes, His all pictures should be removed from the social media, Twitter handle, everywhere.
But then
It should be
all
removed,
these-
and
all
this
the
should
ladies-
come out as a lesson to other.
Sorry, we are seeing a lot of baby bumps. We are seeing a lot of.
This should go as a lesson for
with the baby
other.
bump. Is that also considered nudity? I mean, that how are we equating this? Would you consider that nudity also? All the actresses who are showing their, their pregnancy cycle, they're showing the baby bump. They're showing most of their bodies. A woman's body versus a man's
See,
body.
they are
What
not
is
showing
it?
their private parts. They are not showing their private
not
parts,
either.
madam.
Okay.
At least I don't think.
Go
I mean, I
and
don't
check
see
that
any of it.
Rizwan
pictures,
Siddiqui,
please.
where do you think this case will go? I mean, if at the end of
You
the day,
should-
the complaint,
Can I
by the way,
say
says he's
something?
doing this for publicity. If Ranveer Singh is doing this for publicity, the person needs to thank the most is Miss Vedika and the other complainant, because this is definitely more people have now seen the pictures than they would
No,
have
please,
before.
please, madam,
But-
I'm not hungry for publicity.
No, I'm saying
not
if,
at all here
I'm
for the
saying if, no,
publicity.
you didn't
please.
hear me. You didn't
Mind
hear
your
me.
language.
I'm saying if you didn't hear me, ma'am. I said if Ranveer Singh
No.
did this because
It's
he
you
is
who
hungry
called
for
me here. I have
publicity.
not come here. I have not
Vedika
come
ji,
to
you
your
did not
studio.
hear my comment, so let me repeat it. आप
He
पहले
must
सुन
be, but
लीजिए.
I am not.
आप पहले सुन लीजिए मैंने कहा क्या, क्योंकि आपने
Please
सुना
repeat
नहीं.
it.
मैंने
Please
कहा
repeat it.
if Ranveer
सुनाइए,
Singh has
सुनाइए.
done this because
नहीं,
he is
सुनाइए.
hungry for cheap publicity, which is what the complaint says, that Ranveer Singh is hungry for publicity, इसलिए उन्होंने ऐसा किया है. अगर ये उनका उद्देश्य था, तो आपके FIR के
बिल्कुल.
कारण ये तो पूरा हुआ है. हम ये कह रहे हैं आपके कारण उनको आपको शुक्रिया करना चाहिए,
बिल्कुल
क्योंकि
नहीं, मैं वहाँ,
इसकी वजह से
मैडम, मेरी
हेडलाइन
बात
बने
सुनिए.
हैं.
मैं पुलिस स्टेशन एक कॉमन महिला बन के गई थी पुलिस स्टेशन
Rizwan,
पे. मैंने
last word
वहाँ
on
किसी
this.
को फोन नहीं किया.
See, I'll
Rizwan,
tell you
last
what.
word on this. Where do you think this will go?
कंप्लेन देने गई थी.
This
वहाँ.
Where do you think this will go?
This complaint will not lead to anywhere. This complaint has got no tomorrow. As a matter of fact, even if Mr. Ranveer Singh goes and file a 482 application, if the FIR is registered, I don't know whether it is registered as yet. Even if it is registered, he can straight away go and file a 482 application in the High Court, and the High Court will immediately stay the proceedings.
All right,
I
let's
don't
see.
see this case leading anywhere.
Let's see.
And
It's-
I'm
it's a-
100%
it's an
confident.
He
interesting
will do, but
story.
he will get a lesson for that, Mr. Irfan.
Okay. At least he won't do
How
it
will he
next
get a
time,
lesson?
she says.
Rizwan,
At
Rizwan.
least he
He will
won't
not
do it
do
next
it
time.
again.
I mean, one could say there are worse things in the
Yeah,
world
he
that
will-
we're
he
subjected
should
to
do it.
than Ranveer Singh in his black briefs. But then that again is a personal opinion, and it's more subjective than objective. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us on the discussion. It's an important one because it talks about moral policing, it talks about different points of view and how the law deals with all of this.